Welcome back to the Tidarium Hangar. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with another video. This time I want to talk to you about the FansToys FT-43 Dune Runner, and it's their take on Beachcomber. It's a pretty solid figure, has its pluses and minuses. I did get this at Shozy. I'll have a link down below where you can get yours. Let's get right into it. Here is the typical FansToys packaging, and you know what? I kind of cracked the code to the FansToys packaging, and I cannot take credit for all that, but if on this FansToys packaging it is a drawing, then it's a toon version, and if it looks more like the actual product or whatever, then it is more of a real-world version. Well, at least that's what my viewers say in the comments, and it's pretty consistent. So here he is in his alt mode, and it is a pretty nice looking alt mode. It is definitely a dune buggy. You know what it is. You know that is Beachcomber, and looks great. Looks like a good alt mode. Now, a couple things about it. You do have this piece right here. Now it's attachable. You can attach it or you can take it off. Just kind of what your preference would be with it, and it literally just pops right off. It's real simple, real easy, and I don't know, I think it does kind of add a little bit of character to it to have it on there. And there's also the other two parts, and we're going to see those. I'm going to show these a little bit more in the robot mode, but you could have the same effect and just it still stay on it while you transform it, but you really can't have this piece on it while you transform it, so that's an issue. So one thing about this guy is he has a lot of weight behind it. He is really heavy, just like all of the FansToys options. And of course, it's a mini bot, and it still has some heft and weight behind it. So definitely, it's awesome. Let's take a quick look at this here. We have some transparent plastic on the headlights right there. Not a whole lot of paint overall. A little silver right here. Silver, of course, on this piece, which it's... We're going to tab it in all the way. There we go. And then QC34. I like the chrome on the rims back there. This is painted pretty well silver, but this is just is a stainless steel or something. It's some metal right here. It's just straight up metal. Looks pretty good. There he is on the bottom. But overall looks good. I can't tell if this is just the blue is the plastic or if this blue is paint. But either way, I think I'm leaning towards paint, but I haven't seen anything scratch at all, whatever, which is awesome, which is outstanding. The comparison we're going to do is to the X-Transbot's Arcos, and I gotta say that Arcos does look pretty good in this mode, and I do prefer the toon look though, so that's me. This is more of a real dune buggy, I guess. I don't even think that really is a real dune buggy, but it feels like kind of X-Transbots is a bit of the mess, and I kind of have to keep tabbing stuff back in, and I really feel like FansToys is a little bit more solid of an alt mode. So I mean, it's a win. I hear a lot of people that go either way. Like some people really like this mode, this dune buggy better than this dune buggy. But it's funny because look how much smaller this looks than that is, and we're going to compare them in robot mode here in a little bit. Here's next to Takara's Hot Rod, and this is the new Transform Element Mirage. So looking at that, these figures are way bigger in alt mode than this guy, and I think that's right. I don't think a dune buggy really is all that big. Let's get this transformed up real quick, and I didn't really talk about this that much, but we do have some weapon storage here. Untab. And so you just simply plug it in to this slot right there. And starting out with this, you want to do a couple of things. You want to untab these tabs down here, which I don't want to say they make no sense, but they don't. It's just interesting how that works. And then with that, we're going to maneuver out all of this good stuff here. Now, I'm going to start with the legs because that's just generally how I start doing things. So with that, we're going to untab these front pieces, get that done, and then fold that out, fold this one out, and then we're going to move all the legs. Can we clear the arms? We should be able to, yeah. And there we go. So now we're gonna have to work on getting everything put back into the legs. So, okay, so this part here is kind of on like a double hinging system. And so what you're gonna need to do is kind of fold this over here, double hinge that out of the way so that you can fold in this piece, and then you're going to fold this piece here back. That's how that's going to work, and then you're going to have to tab it all in. Get that tab in there, and then we got to fold this around to form the foot like that, and then fold this piece back down. And so we'll have that done. Same thing on the other side. Now we have the legs done. Let's go ahead and get up here and work on the top part. So let's work on this top part here, and we've got this part here. We're going to open up this, and we're going to need to get his head out and fold this back piece here out, and then we got to get to folding up these seats, and then we do have to fold these pieces here down and the filler pieces, and then collapse all this down. There we go. Once collapsed down, it's going to go inside of him, and then that's going to collapse on that, and then tab, well, actually you don't get that down, and then it's going to tab in to right here. Close his head down, get his arms. Now we're going to extend his arm, and then we're going to double extend his arm. Right there, right here. Extend his arm on that extension, and then pop this open to double extend his arm, and then we have his arms, and we're gonna pretty much have him done. So here it is in the robot mode, and I have to admit, he looks pretty good. FansToys did a pretty good job with this guy. And getting into the positives of this, first off, we're gonna have a look at some of the paint apps here. We got paint on the eyes, on the visor. Zoom in. And then right here on the chest, and right here on the chest. And then looking down here, that's kind of the obligatory paint area on the stomach, abdomen. Down now, the blue is all kind of like a metallic fleck. And I have to admit that looking at it just in normal light, I didn't notice it, but under the extra lighting for my setup here, that's when I noticed this. So it does have kind of a fleck to it. But I do want to say it's flat. Overall, there's a little bit of a fleck to it, but it's flat. And I'm used to metallic paint on FansToys, and I really think that's the biggest fail on this figure. But he looks good. He looks the part. He definitely fits a Beachcomber, and that works for me. Let's check out the articulation. Looking at the head, side to side, up and down, and you could kind of do a, if you pull it up, you can get a little bit more, and then you can kind of push it down. It really isn't intended for that, but you can kind of pop and swap with the other three heads we're going to look at in a second here. So you do have 90 and all the way around, and then bicep swivel, a 90 on the elbow. It doesn't have a double hinged elbow, which I'm really not expecting that. You have the 4 fingers pinned together, syndrome, I guess you could say, and a little bit of movement on the hand. You do have a waist swivel, and then this kind of seems old school, but I'm okay with it. But you have just the whole front and the whole back on the skirts, and we kind of, so we had individual skirts, and then now it's kind of like hiding away with the masterpiece, like this, like MP hides it away. Everybody hates this figure, but it has some stuff that it does really well. I like the figure, by the way. And anyway, looking at the, it's got the universal there, 90 to the front. I'm sure you can get the 90. and 90 to the back. Boom. And then thigh swivel. It looks like a double jointed knee, but you don't get a double jointed knee. You don't get the result of it out of it. Okay, anyway, it's not a big deal. And then you got the ankle rocker there, and then a front tilt. I mean, you get a little bit out of it. Kind of, I guess the front tilt is so you can look like you're running kind of thing. We do have multiple different head sculpts. It looks like he's smiling or laughing in this one, and then serious in these two. And then this one here is from, I think it's the Golden Lagoon or something, but the visor. But let's show you a quick swap on this. And like I was saying earlier, you can just pop this off and then pop the other one on. And I want to tell you something. I love this. I do not like having to take apart a head and to swap out a face. I love a quick, easy head swap, and I wish they would do that on more of their figures. On other companies would follow suit. But I am kind of concerned that down the road, maybe we're gonna get some breakage to this point here by doing it over and over, but I don't know. Anyhow, that's a great way to do it. Hopefully we get more like that in the future. And here he is with his alt mode plastic shin bling. Not something I really think I'd store it with or display it with, but to say, hey, it's not really parts forming if you can leave it on all the time and flip it back and forth, and it's more of an option. So this is kind of not parts forming at all. It is an optional look. Let's get into some comparisons here. So this is Arcos in his blue form and his green form. I want to say a couple things. First of all, the shininess of the blue is good. The extreme shininess of the green is what I prefer on my figure. I know this is a debate that's going to go round and round and round, but I'll take shiny over flat every day of the week. And I know a lot of people say, well, it's not toon accurate, but if you really watch the toon, they do put in some stuff to make it look like they shine. So every single Transformer can seem to shine, so that's where I stand on it. But I'm okay with this. Makes me think they're going to release another version, especially because of the way the box looks, to be shiny like these guys. Let's go ahead and swap the green one out with the iGear version. Now, the iGear version was all we had for a while before Arcos came out. Then now we have the FansToys. As you can see, the iGear is a little shorter than the Arcos from the X-Transbots, and then the FansToys towers over all of them. Let's look at the side comparison and then the back comparison. Now, so Arcos is kind of flimsy. You could probably get an Arcos for like 30 bucks these days. Or I'm sorry, the iGear, Dune, whatever. It was Dune something. Dune Racer? Dunerider? But FansToys just wins in every category when it comes to the aesthetic, looking like a cartoon. The back of this was always kind of an issue with Arcos, although I never see the back, it's not a problem, but just it's glaring obvious how good FansToys was. And then this one here, you have a lot of opening stuff. I mean, iGear is super old. That's like 2014 kind of technology, so there it is. Okay, a couple other mini bots here. We have the official Takara, we have Bad Cube. Look at those guys. He towers over them. I think he should be a little taller than them, but then again, when you factor in maybe X-Transbots, if depends on your collection, fits in a little bit better. I mean, it's kind of like in the middle here, but I kind of like bigger's better. That's the way I go. Last two I'm going to do in comparison here. I do want to compare to two things very specific. The reason I'm not doing the whole obligatory Optimus Prime comparison and all of that is because of the paint scheme. Now, this is X-Transbots, and I like how shiny the paint is on this, and I was hoping that this could match the shininess level. I would have preferred that. That's just my preference. But this thing is kind of light compared to how heavy this guy is with all the metal in it and die cast. Now, this one here, Coot, is kind of a flat look to it. But if you start looking, the paint does kind of shine and glisten in a few areas where they did paint it, and so I'm just kind of confused about this paint scheme. Makes me think we'll get another repaint eventually. So this has been the FansToys FT-43 Dune Runner, and yeah, he's running. But this is a pretty good, solid figure. I'm disappointed in the paint. I'm pretty obvious about my paint disappointment. I do like the fact that he's pretty solid, he's pretty heavy, he's hefty, he is solid figure all around, even though he has no ratchets in him, even though it's not bad. It's not a bad figure. I think he looks good. He's super tuned. He's hyper tuned. He's really fallen in line with a kind of a Takara aesthetic. And FansToys did a great job. Both modes look good. The figure's awesome. I don't know, for a $100 price point, I think you're getting what your money's worth out of this thing. Again, I have a link down below. You can get it at Show Z. Like, subscribe to Dunerider out.